Welcome to the Space City X-Files.
Welcome one and all to another intriguing episode of the Space City X-Files. I'm your host Rick, here to guide you through the twists and turns of the stories that lurk beneath the surface of our everyday world. In this episode, we're pulling back the curtains on the happiest place on Earth, sometimes referred to as the most twisted place on Earth. Yes, folks, we are taking a journey into the heart of Disney and all of its parks established across the globe. These are places of joy, imagination, and wonder where childhood dreams come to life and where our fairy tales feel as real as the ground beneath our feet. But behind the laughter, the magic, and the Mickey Mouse ears, and all the tourists, there exist tales and theories that veer off the path of the guided tour. From secret clubs and hidden tunnels to enduring urban legends and the rumors that continue to swirl around the legacy of Walt Disney himself. Are these merely myths spun from whispers or half-truths? Or is there a deeper reality hidden beneath the sparkle and the spectacle? Together, we're going to delve into the rumors, we're going to dissect the theories, and we're going to separate the fantastical from the factual. So buckle up, keep your arms and legs inside the ride at all times, and prepare for a journey into the secret heart of Disney. You're listening to Space City X-Files, episode 22, where the magic gets real. Before we continue with our investigation into the secrets of Disney, we'd like to take a moment to express our gratitude to all our listeners. At Space City X-Files, we strive to provide the best possible experience by keeping our episodes free of commercials and ads. We rely on your support to help us grow and reach more people who share our passion for uncovering the mysteries of the unknown. If you enjoyed today's episode, we kindly request that you take a few minutes to leave us a review on whatever platform you're listening on. Your feedback is invaluable in spreading awareness about the show and attracting new listeners. Additionally, if you would like to make a monetary contribution to support the program, you can visit our website and click on the Support Us tab. Every donation we receive goes directly towards enhancing the quality of our content. We appreciate your consideration and ongoing support. Your involvement ensures that we can continue to deliver thought-provoking episodes like today's about the underworld of the so-called happiest place on Earth. Thank you for being a part of Space City X-Files, and we look forward to bringing you more captivating content in the future. This will conclude the announcements. Alright, so in case you've been living under a rock and you don't know who Walt Disney is, we prepared a little background information on his story. So Walt Disney, born on December 5th, 1901, was an American entrepreneur, animator, writer, voice actor, and a film producer. He's a pioneer of American animation industry, and he introduced several developments in the production of cartoons. His legacy includes creating one of the most famous characters in film history, Mickey Mouse, and founder of the Walt Disney Company, which has grown into one of the largest and best-known studios in American cinema. Disney was born in Chicago, Illinois, but he grew up on a farm in Marceline, Missouri. His interest in drawing emerged at an early age, selling his first sketches to neighbors when he was only 7 years old. In 1917, the Disney family moved to Kansas City, where Walt began his studies at the Kansas City Art Institute. During this time, he got his first taste of animation at the Pressman Rubin Art Studio and later created ads for newspapers and magazines. In the early 1920s, he started a short-lived company called Laugh-O-Gram Studio, which went bankrupt. He then moved to Hollywood, where he and his older brother, Roy O. Disney, established the Disney Brothers Studio. Now, the studio developed a series of successful short films featuring a character named Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. In 1928, Disney found out that he had ultimately lost the rights to Oswald, leading to the creation of a new character named Mickey Mouse. So that was probably one of the best things that ever happened to him. And so the character's success led to a series of cartoons, and Mickey Mouse soon became a cultural phenomenon recognizable all over the world. In the 1930s, Disney began producing full-length animated features, starting with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in 1937. This was followed by other big hits like Pinocchio, Fantasia, Dumbo, and Bambi. In the mid-1950s, Walt Disney envisioned a new type of amusement park, Disneyland, which opened its doors in 1955. It was a massive success and remains a cornerstone of the Disney brand to today. Now, after the launch of Disneyland, Disney continued to innovate. His studios produced popular live-action movies and television programs, while he planned a much larger theme park project in Florida, which later became Walt Disney World Resort. So, Disney was a major figure in the American animation industry and throughout the world, really. He's regarded as an international icon, known for his influence and contributions to the field of entertainment during the 20th century. With the creation of Disneyland and Walt Disney World, Disney established some of the first theme parks and laid the groundwork for a completely new kind of family entertainment. Walt Disney died from lung cancer in Burbank, California on December 15, 1966. The Walt Disney Company carried on his legacy and continued to grow, making Walt Disney a household name to this day. Now, that's the short story of this whole deal. And there's more to it, because if it ended right there, this would be a pretty boring episode, right? So, nothing out of the ordinary at first glimpse. Just another success story about a guy following his dreams. But that's not where it ends. In fact, that's just where the strangeness begins, with Walt Disney's death. So let's explore the conspiracy section now, shall we? There's one theory that has almost become synonymous when you think of Walt Disney nowadays. But no one can really recall where it came from or how it started. It's as if the lead had gone cold, if you will. So you've heard of the one about Walt Disney having himself cryogenically frozen, right? Well, it's a story that has stuck around for decades, and even though it's lacking in any significant evidence besides a few rumors from ex-employees, but let's explore a little more and find out why it has had such staying power. So Walt Disney was a dreamer and a doer, and a man who believed in a future where technology and innovation would make the world a better place. It's no wonder that he had been seen as a futurist. And if you ever explored Disneyland's Tomorrowland or heard about his initial concept for Epcot, which stands for Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow, you can see this vision for yourself. So he didn't just envision Epcot as a theme park, but actually as an actual living community that would always remain at the forefront of technology. Now, with such ambitious vision, it's not hard to see how some people might believe Walt Disney could possibly entertain the idea of cryonics. The science of using ultra-cold temperatures to preserve a human body with the hope of future revival. And so imagine the thought, Walt Disney waking up in the future that he so dreamt about, ready to pick up where he left off. I mean, it's like a storyline right out of a Disney movie, right? Now, the truth is, the whole cryonics movement didn't really start up until shortly after Disney's death, which is debatable, but the first person to actually be cryogenically preserved was Dr. James Bedford in January of 1967, just a month after Disney passed away. I mean, so give or take a month, you're not going to tell me that the technology wasn't there for Disney to do it either. But people do. And so, I don't know, maybe people will connect the dots, and given the timing and the fact that Disney was known to have a passion for futuristic things, perhaps that's how the myth was born. But I guess you can say the consensus is that Disney was cremated after his death, and his ashes were interred at the Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California, per his wishes. But, you know, I mean, even though he didn't take that final leap into the future himself, he certainly left all of his family and us with the vision of it. So, while that myth can probably be debunked, and I say probably because we don't know for sure, but it's extraordinary, the imagination that he had and what he was able to accomplish. And it was really a testament to the, his story, his life is really a testament to the, I guess you can say, the fragility of life. I mean, no matter how creative or important you are, or how much money you have, I mean, if the world goes on long enough, we're all headed towards the same place, right? That long nap. All right, so now, as we mentioned, that there were some people, and some were former employees, that said that he did freeze himself, and that his body is still at Disney World in Orlando. Where they say his body is hidden is the focus of our next dark secret of the Disney organization and Walt himself. So, if you've ever been to Disney World in Orlando, you may have missed that the park grounds are kind of elevated. That's right, like when you're walking around Disney World, that big giant place, when you're walking around the grounds, you're actually walking on the second floor. And that you're walking on the second floor because underneath it are tunnels that span the whole distance of the park, and they actually connect all this, little secondary parks together. And these tunnels were dubbed with the name Utilidors, supposedly short for utility corridors. And some claim, however, that the name itself has a more nefarious meaning. For one, it would be a safe statement to say that Walt Disney was a coded man. For instance, he used his name written backwards a few times as a pseudo-identity, calling himself Retlaw Sale Yensid. And he did this when he wanted to be incognito. And which is a coincidence, I guess you can say, because then there was the all-powerful Yen Sid, the character in the Fantasia movie, who happens to be the strongest sorcerer alive. And when you're looking at it in the context of the Disney movies or products, he was a sorcerer that was supposed to be even stronger than Merlin, who was supposed to be the strongest one that there was. But in Fantasia, he's stronger than him. So that was like a, I guess, manifestation of himself inside of his own cartoon. And some theorists would say even that this was like maybe Walt Disney, I guess, putting out there that he kind of dabbled in the arts. You know what I mean? Whether those arts were light or dark, I mean, who really knows? I don't know. But since Walt obviously likes to play on words, and it's a known fact that he had a passion for Easter eggs, like things hiding in plain sight, that got a few people looking at the name Utilidors. Such a strange name to call the tunnels, right? Especially for an American. I mean, and then he was from Missouri too. It's not like he was. I mean, I know he was probably traveled after he got rich. You know, he probably seen the world, but before then he didn't. And so it was just a strange name. So looking at that name, Utilidors, and after realizing that he played on words, he liked to turn them around and kind of create names backwards. So you do that with Utilidors. You turn it around, and you have Srodilitu. Now, this may be a coincidence, but then again, maybe it's not. So what you do is you break that word apart, and you have Esrod Ilitu. Okay? And here's where things get kind of interesting. So Srod, or Esrod, if you do a quick search, it could be on anything, DuckDuckGo, or whatever you want to search on, whatever you feel comfortable with. If you look it up, what you're going to find is that the Esrod, or Sorod, happens to be a non-coding RNA gene that lives in bacteria. And of course, bacteria lives in all of us, plants, animals, a whole lot of different things. However, whatever this particular bacteria's function is still unknown, or really the part that it plays. But anyways, that's not the important part. The important part is that if you just for humor, type it up and go to Wikipedia. I mean, I know that's not the best place, but just it's going to show you a picture of the molecular structure. And when you're looking at the molecular structure of Esrod or Sorod, and I'm going to include this in the show notes, but whenever you look at it, I mean, you're going to see that the symbol of it is Mickey Mouse. It's the ears, it's the mouth, and then it's got this little like I guess like a side piece that comes off. Looks like a little map leading somewhere else. And so what you do is you're going to pull up an aerial map of Disney World Orlando, and because we know how much Walt loved Easter eggs, we're going to place that drawing of the S-Rod molecule structure against the map. And when you do that, what do you know? It matches up perfectly with 3 structures in Tomorrowland. With that tailpiece that we were talking about, of the molecular structure, leading right to a staircase to the underground tunnels. So is this a coincidence? I don't know. What's underneath there? Take some guesses. Who knows? Who knows what's underneath there? And good luck finding out, because from what I hear, those tunnels are seriously guarded. The whole place is seriously guarded by people and by other things, from what I hear. But if I had to take a guess of what was down there, and I'm going to kind of let my mind run on this one, I could come up with a few things. So here's what I think is down there. One, it would either be Walt himself frozen in cryostasis. And when you find him, like, I don't know, some recording plays congratulating you, and then a big old bag of money falls out of the air or something. Two, my other guess would be it would have something to do with this bacteria. Why would that I guess particle of the bacteria be inside of this Easter egg? I don't know. Perhaps it was a formula for something that could help mankind. I mean, he was into, the futuristic stuff, and he was studied in advancing civilization. But I say this because one of the reasons why I say that about the bacterium is because it's a fact that Walt designed all of the plants in Tomorrowland to be edible. All right, so whenever he was laying out Epcot, his experimental town, futuristic town, or community, he designed it to where everything was edible. So and that's Epcot now is in the center of Disneyland, like right next to Tomorrowland. So if you're looking at the aerial map and you see Tomorrowland, like Epcot's like, I think it's like, I want to say to the northwest of that. It's where that big giant glowing ball is. But yeah, like all the plants around there, they're all edible. And those plants still exist to today. And you can look this up, and it's going to be in the show notes too. And it's like, it's posted on his it's like on his website. They don't advise you to eat them because people are walking on them all day and spitting and throwing their food all over there. So, and you don't want to just pick it up and eat it, but you can. I mean, they were designed to be edible. So, and so perhaps he knew something that we didn't. I mean, maybe he found out, I don't know, something that could help mankind, and that's where he hit it. Third, my last guess of what would be down there would be some type of portal that would actually transport you to Tomorrowland. And it's funny because in the movie Tomorrowland, when the girl gets teleported through time and space, if you watch the movie, the tunnel that she passes through, they were filming that in the Space Mountain ride, which oddly enough is right next to this map that we speak of now. So there's a whole lot of coincidences in this theory, and that's as far as I got. But if you find this interesting, check it out. If you come up with something or you find something that I didn't, let me know. Send me an email. Let's go check it out together. All right. So forewarning, our next theory gets darker, and it involves the human trafficking of women and children. And I know you're probably thinking, what does this have anything to do with Walt Disney? Well, unfortunately, it does. And so if you think this could be a trigger for you, I'm going to implore that you skip ahead now, because it goes into quite a bit of detail. So I'll give you a few seconds to skip ahead, and then we're going to begin the segment, okay? Multiple Disney employees, or as you probably know, and if you don't, you're going to find out, multiple Disney employees have been arrested on charges ranging from child sex trafficking to child pornography. Now, I mean, a few bad apples shouldn't spoil the bunch, is what some say. But how much is too much? How many times can you say that until you start to sound like you're making excuses for somebody or for some company? The fact is, you can go to any search engine you want and you can type in Disney employee arrested, and the number of people that pop up for sex crimes are atrocious. And you start to ask the question, why does a company as wealthy and as large as Disney, why don't they have a proper vetting process for the people they hire? Is it apathy or is it collusion? As recently as 2022, an heiress of the company, and I'm talking about Abigail Disney, so she's in the blood family, came out and said that she knew for a fact that Disney turned a blind eye to sexual abuse of women and children. She pointed for reference the period of time when Disney owned Harvey Weinstein's Miramax films. And if you don't know who Harvey Weinstein is, check it out. He's a bad man, and he did a lot of bad things that had to do with taking advantage of women and young girls. And because he was in a place of power, in a place of privilege, he got away with it for a long time. Anyways, she told the story of a girl named, if I said this wrong, I'm sorry, Kaja Sokola. And this girl was raped by Weinstein when she was just 15 years old. And Abigail states that everyone at Disney knew about it, yet they didn't do a damn thing. She also pointed out that multiple settlements were paid out to women, victims, during their ownership of the company Miramax. And that the people at Disney just chalked it up to, well, that's the way business is, she claims. And that was quoted whenever she said that. That's the way the business is. Not a very good look for the happiest place on earth, right? You can see why they call it the most twisted place on earth. But, power corrupts, Power corrupts, and wealth turns to greed sometimes. And then you have the claims of trafficking happening on the grounds themselves. So it's been brought up by more than a few people. Many were ex-employees, that those deep underground tunnels they use for park purposes actually connect to another old tunnel system that runs from Orlando to the coast and possibly all the way to Cuba's front door. According to a New York Times article, the long obsolete tunnels were once used during Prohibition to traffic prostitutes and drugs, but those days are long behind the state, so they say. The funny thing is, Florida is the third in the country for the most trafficked women and children. And I'm not picking on Florida. I'm from Texas, and we're number 2. So, it's bad around the coast, and some close to the situation there in Florida claim that those tunnels are not obsolete. They claim that they're still alive and functionable, and that they're tied into those tunnels at Disney, and that women and children are trafficked through there. And then you have the case of the recent movie Sound of Freedom, a movie that has caused quite an uproar in the political world, with some from the left calling the movie far-right extremism. They call it conspiracy mumbo-jumbo. And, basically say everything they can to take away from the reason the movie was made. But the fact is, this movie is about the exploitation of young children inside and outside of America. So put the bureaucracy aside and focus on the message. We have a huge problem. It's a known fact that this movie, even though it was just released, it's a known fact that the movie was completed for over 6 years. It's been sitting. And for 5 of those 6 years, Disney themselves held the rights to the movie. And some would say they did everything they could to shelf it instead of making it happen. And so you have to ask the question, who wouldn't want this movie to be seen and why? Maybe it's the same people who protected predators like Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein for so long. But that's a topic for another show. And this season we do go over the Jeffrey Epstein case, so stay tuned for that one. So I don't want to go too far into his shit. But all I can say is it's very suspicious, okay? And I'll include this theory. I'll conclude this theory with one last little knowledge gem. And this is really odd given the accusations that Disney Corp now, the accusations that Disney Corp faces with the human trafficking and the underground tunnels and the, I guess, sadism. But back in the day, Walt Disney worked with the FBI. Yeah, you might not have known that. But yeah, Disney's relationship with the FBI began in the early 1940s. And he became a SAC agent, which is a special agent in charge, or a special agent contact. And essentially, he was a go-between between the FBI and the public and other organizations, because he could get where they couldn't, into a lot of different scenes at the time. Disney's role as a SAC agent contact was largely related to his influence in Hollywood and the cultural impact of his films. Walt Disney was also a founding member of the Motion Picture Alliance for the preservation of American ideals, an organization aimed at resisting communist influence in Hollywood. Disney's anti-communist stance made him a useful ally for J. Edgar Hoover, the director of the FBI at the time. So throughout his relationship with the FBI, Disney reportedly was providing information on Hollywood activities and politics. And, he was reporting what was going on at their parties. He was reporting on the things that they were into. And also he was basically checking if there was any communist infiltration. And in return, J. Edgar Hoover allowed Disney to, this is strange, but he allowed him to film in the FBI headquarters in Washington, D.C. for a television show that Disney was producing. And this is funny too. It says that the FBI actually provided Walt Disney with information for projects that he was working on. So I don't know what kind of information he needed for Bambi,
the Great Meadow,
from the FBI, but whatever it was, he got it. And so since the 40s, Disney's impact on Hollywood has only strengthened. Way more than what he had in the 40s. Now, Disney's huge. And so they progressed so much, way more than Walt himself or Roy could have ever imagined. I'm sure they didn't see, when they found the Disney Bros studios, I'm sure they didn't see themselves growing this big, what they did. And then so the FBI, Walt was a known asset to the FBI, and now his company is as big as it is. And so with an asset like that, one would probably safely say that it would be beneficial to keep the relationship alive. And so that calls into question if the relationship between the FBI and Walt Disney ever ended. I mean, let me give you an example of what that would be like. Me, I got a small business that I run. I don't want to go too much into it, but I do. And so let's say I made a contact one day with the investor who had a net worth of $1 billion, right? And so, I would do little jobs for him. He'd give me regular work. And I got to know his partners and his CFOs and his CEOs and all that stuff. We were all on first name basis. And let's say he passed away, he died. So how smart would I be if I just said, okay, well, he's gone, I better turn around and walk away now? And no, I mean, you would reach out. You would reach out to the next person in line, and then the person after that. And you would do what you have to do to keep that relationship alive. And even if it meant, when you're looking at it in context of business terms, you do things, for your customers to try to help keep the relationship alive. Free service calls or free parts, or you comp them here, you comp them there, but it makes it up later. So if you were the FBI and you had an asset like Disney, I mean, I could see them doing the exact same thing. Like, okay, like keep working with us, and we're gonna keep letting you know things that would help you out. Maybe make some rival competitors go away, stuff like that. But anyways, moving on. Onward and upward, as they always say, as Walt Disney used to say. Our next and final secret, shrouded in mystery, is Disney's secret club for the elite. Now check this out. Chris Rock, right? He got slapped on stage by Will Smith. He disappeared for a while, and then all of a sudden he came back, and he was on Netflix. He did like this live show on Netflix, and he was roasting Will and going off on these tangents and stuff like that. And I didn't really watch the whole thing, but I just wanted to see what he had to say about Will. But if you watch the whole thing, if you watch Chris Rock's latest Netflix special, then you probably heard him talking about Disney, and you probably heard him talking about this special club. Only he didn't refer to it by a name. He referred to it as a package. And he came right out and he called it the Illuminati package. So yes, he says, when I go to Disneyland, I don't go to Disneyland like y'all do. I go to Disneyland and I take the Illuminati package. And the things he spoke of, or things he spoke about that went on behind the scenes, were just sick and gross. And like borderline, I don't know, borderline like pedophilia or something like that. It was really, really sickening. And I know that like comics are supposed to be edgy and, it's all for the sake of a laugh. But this was more like a demon exposing itself in broad daylight, Like knowing the people in the audience or the people at home watching TV are too oblivious to know what's really going on. They're just eating it up, But anyways, this club, the secret club at Disney, is called Club 33. And Club 33, my friend, is the stuff of legends. It's a secret hideaway nestled in the heart of Disneyland's New Orleans Square. It's a place of whispers, exclusivity, and a lot of intrigue. With its entrance, it's just a simple plaque bearing its name. I mean, if you weren't looking for it, you walk right past it without ever knowing what lies beyond that door. The club opened its door in 1967. That's when they first started allowing members. And although it was a vision of Walt Disney, it was his vision, but he never got to see it come to life. He passed away just months before it was complete. He didn't even get to party there. Now, as for the name Club 33, it's likely that that 33 was chosen just because it fell in that sequence. So everything on that everything on Royal Street when you're walking through Disneyland is every building is numbered, right? And so 30, 31, 32, 33. It's very likely that could be the reason. But like anything else shrouded in mystery, or the speculation is rife with this one. And so that 33 is linked to all types of things. You know, some link 33 to the original 33 sponsors of Disneyland at the time, the 33 Elite. Basically, that it was supposed to be like an attributed playground for them, and to let loose and you know, out of the eyes of the public. Now, the exclusivity of Club 33 gives it an allure that's hard to resist. It makes people interested in it. It's the only spot within Disneyland where they serve alcohol during normal hours. Wink, wink. And an invitation to join is as elusive as catching a leprechaun. So it's hard to get in there. You have to be invited, basically. And you got to have heavy pockets. And you got to have patience to withstand a waiting list that could take years to get to the front of. And to me, that kind of resembles another secret club in California. You know,
weaving spiders come not here.
You know, any of y'all know which one I'm talking about? You know, it's kind of a membership club. If you don't know, we got a show coming out about that one soon too. But let's talk about the membership benefits of this Club 33. And they include access to lavishly themed restaurants. There's restaurants all in there. There's bars. There's shopping. And they're all hidden away along the secret corridors. And I know, you know, somebody listening to this show may have been in there, because you can take a tour. You have to pay to get in, but they do give tours. But this is not the Club 33 that they show to the public. This is a different Club 33. This goes beyond that, okay? And these bars and restaurants and shopping centers are all hidden along this corridor. Some say there's another area though. There's a private area for the members only club. You know what I mean? And this place dips back below the beaten path, if you will, below ground again. Here we go. We're back below ground into those secret tunnels that we were speaking of earlier. And it also, with this membership, it includes invitations to special events. Who knows what that could be? Maybe it could be, I don't know. I don't know what it could be. Something, sacrifice to Baal, or who knows, but some kind of weird shit. And, with also the membership, you get a premier passport to Disneyland, which is the highest tier of an annual pass. And with this premier passport, you can get, you know, special entrance. You get pushed up to the front of the lines. You can sometimes use those little tunnels down at the bottom. But anyways, I mean, this place is pretty secretive, and of course, because of that, the rumors are gonna amass. But back to that name. About that name, there's some whispers that kind of hint at a connection between the number 33 and Freemasonry.
Let the brother receive the light.
So if you're not familiar with Freemasonry, sit tight, because we're gonna do we got an episode about that one coming out too. We go into depth in all this insignia and the rituals, and we're going into all that. So one when that comes out, listen to that one, and then it'll help you understand this one better. But anyways, the Freemasonry connection is linked to Walt Disney's past association with the Freemason-related Demolay International, which Demolay is a connection to the Knights Templar, which is said to possibly be where Freemasonry got its start. And the significance of the number 33, well, that's the 33 Scottish Rite in Freemasonry, which is supposed to be the highest degree you can make. And so others speculate that the club is a venue for Walt Disney's clandestine activities, like we were talking about earlier. To get out of the public eye, have some drinks, and do whatever it is they do down there. And then there's some other theories that Club 33 has ties to the Illuminati, driven more by the club's exclusivity and the mystique around the number 33. In conclusion, Club 33 in essence is an embodiment of Walt Disney's vision for an exclusive space within his beloved park. Similar to his hidden apartment that he had, where he would basically watch over the park goers. And yeah, he did some weird stuff over there. He would watch them. He had like areas in his park rigged with microphones because he wanted to hear what they said too. He wanted to hear what they were talking about. And that was all inside of his little apartment. So yeah, it's a lot of weird stuff going on. But I don't know. This is one of the dreams that this is a vision that he had, this little private club. Is it suspicious? Yeah. Can we come flat out and say that they're doing some evil shit down there? Not necessarily. But I don't know. It's going to remain a mystery for now. If one of you go down there and find out what's going on, let us know. Until then, we'll keep an eye on it. And well, that's going to conclude the theory portion. I know it's a lot to ponder on, but if you want to know more, the information is readily available. It's not hard to find at all. A couple of searches, and you're going to find what you're looking for. That's for sure. But just a warning, about rabbit holes. They often lead to other rabbit holes, so be ready for that because you're going to be going down. But now we can conclude the show with our own personal theory on what we believe this case to be about. And we're talking about the case of the corruption of the Disney Corporation. Now, me personally, I do believe that they are involved with the elite in the world. I believe that they have heavy pull in the direction of our country and perhaps even the world. On a global scale, I know for a fact that there are way more people involved than just them. I'm not trying to say that they're the sole orchestrators because they're not, but they're a piece of it. And so in my opinion, I do believe most of the conspiracies, these secrets tied to them they probably have some truth to them. They're probably more true than they're not. All right. How does this relate to Walt Disney the man, though? I'm not 100% sure. I mean, because he died so long ago. So there's been a lot of time between his death and what Disney is now. So maybe he wasn't. I feel like he had his quirks. Like I think that he may have dabbled in some mysticism here and there. I think that he probably was involved with the Freemasonry or Illuminati. But what was going on back in his time compared to what's happening now, the corruption was probably significantly less, in my opinion at least. But hey, that's just my opinion, and everybody has one. So if you would like to share your thoughts, about this episode, then feel free to reach out to me on social media or by email. I'll be glad to hear what you got. If you or someone you know has personal experience in relation to the Disney Corp and would like to talk off the record, let me know. I'll be down for that too. And so that's going to wrap it up for this episode. I hope you liked it, and I hope you're entertained. I know it had some kind of rough parts to it, but that's the world these days. If you did enjoy the show, I ask that you please take a few minutes after the conclusion to leave us a short review and a thumbs up on whatever platform you stream from. Your feedback is invaluable, and it helps us break through the algorithms to connect with more truth seekers around the world. So thank you for your help in that matter. Alright folks, I'm out of here. I hope you join us again next week for another thought-provoking episode. This is Rick on behalf of the Space City X-Files, and until we meet again, keep questioning, keep listening, and keep exploring.
Thank you for listening to the Space City X-Files.